Are you ready to become insane and perform powerful rituals while being hunted by gruesome, hideous monsters? Okay guys, and welcome to Manic. This mod is both available for Forge and Fabric for the latest version. Be sure to check out my gaming channels and join my Discord for almost weekly gaming events, and I hope you will enjoy today's video. With that, let's start. Caution, this is originally a data pack. The mod version has some issues with the textures. You can still use it, but I'd advise you to install the resource pack separately. Also, this won't work with external shaders. First steps. The first thing you will notice while playing with this mod is the sanity bar on the top left of your screen. It will deplete by certain actions, standing in the darkness, eating raw food, or being damaged. However, this new addition replaces the phantom spawning, so that's a nice twist. As soon as your sanity will start to drain, the eye will open. The lower your sanity, the more auditory and visual hallucinations you'll encounter. When the eye is completely open and greenish, monsters named spectres will chase you down. The already known phantoms, the spook, the mirage, the revenant, and the eidolon. All of these take normal smite damage. Spooks chase down players while crawling forward with their two arms and spitting acid at them. They drop necroplasm. If the player is swimming, spooks will transform into mirages. These crab creatures with an anglerfish head are very good swimmers. They use their claws to crush the bones of players and will randomly dash at the player. Upon death, they drop lysosome. On land, they transform into spooks. Revenants are skeletal figures with some straps of clothing on them. They love to charge with high speed at their target. These bony entities will drop reticulum, which is a key item to progression. Eidolons have 4 spider-like legs and a giant green eye. They try to keep a larger distance to the player while firing sanity rays at them. When injured, they can teleport away. Upon death, these will drop vacuole. To guide you through the mod, you need to find the occult idol, a structure found in most grassy or forest biomes. On one side, a book is floating within the air. The player can right-click it to be granted the grimoire. Aside of this treasure, some spectres will be summoned nearby. So don't claim the grimoire before acquiring a bit of equipment. The grimoire itself contains barely any text. You should decipher the meaning yourself. By using the left and right mouse buttons, you can swap through the chapters. Hold sneak and click the right mouse button to open a specific chapter. To progress, you need to create the first altar out of cobbled deep slate, rotten flesh, and iron. In total, you need 4 podiums and 1 altar. Your ingredients are placed on the podiums. The process is activated with a right click on the altar. To unlock more chapters, you need to finish specific rituals. The second chapter is unlocked with 2 bones and 2 rotten flesh. To advance further, you'll need to trade with the Insomniac. Either you can find him naturally spawned in your world, or you can summon him with a ritual. This has a cooldown though. For the summoning, you need a rotten flesh, 2 necroplasms, and 1 emerald. The odd creature will trade different materials such as bones, rotten flesh, or phantom membranes for moonstone. This item can be traded in for pumpkins, ender pearls, an occult explorer map, which will lead the way to a not explored occult idol, nightmare shackles, and Blight Mold. The latter is a quite important item, which I will continue to talk about later. The shackles are a necklace equipped in the helmet slot, which drains your sanity bar even when you sleep. If you don't want to buy them, there's also a ritual to craft them. With 1 lysosome, 2 necroplasms, and 1 moonstone, the player can unlock the 3rd chapter of the grimoire. Before moving on, one can craft pumpkin and melon pops out of either pumpkin or melon, sugar, and a stick. They regenerate a bit of sanity back. If you are playing in multiplayer and you want to share your unlocking progress of the Grimoire, then you can perform a ritual with 2 lysosomes and 2 necroplasms. Blight Mold. This item bought from the Insomniac can transform various plants. When a plant is converted with Blight Mold, all plants around it wither. Corpse Bloom. Double plants like sunflowers or rose bushes are converted into corpse bloom seeds with a blight mold. This seed can be planted anywhere, but it needs to be grown before it has a use. This is done with undead or any spectrous drops. When fully grown, it will trap nearby undead until it becomes sappy. This juice can be bottled, and the plant needs 8 minutes before it can be active again. A new entity can be created if a corpse bloom snares a bee, the zombie. This new entity will kill nearby monsters until it is filled with their nectar. Then it searches for a nearby corpse bloom to pollinate it. Players can make the zombie follow them if a corpse flute is used. This new item is created when a blight mold is used on sugarcane or bamboo. When it is played, all nearby zombies will follow the player for 2 minutes. It also applies slowness on all undead creatures, even spectres. When creepers are snared by the corpse bloom, there's a chance that a corpse creep is summoned. These have a 15% chance to drop a blight mold. These lethal enemies deal enormous amount of damage and will corrupt the land around their explosion. Use blight mold on an allium flower to create a corpse bulb. If placed near a corpse bloom, it will try to kill any undead nearby. After doing so multiple times, the flower will bloom, which the player can shear for scented corpse bulb flesh. Eating this will allow you to spawn whatever it killed. Corpse Gourd. By using a blight mold on a pumpkin or a melon, a corpse gourd seed will be created. Empty corpse growth will take sap from nearby corpse blooms. These can be boiled, meaning their main use is for automatic farms. If a corpse growth that is already sappy receives more sap due to there being no other empty corpse gourds around, it will fire a sanity ray projectile instead. This projectile passes through blocks and will travel up to 16 blocks and can be absorbed by other corpse plants. Carve a corpse gourd with shears to make it unable to receive sap anymore, only by interacting with it per bottles or through sanity rays. Corpse Thorn. The blight mold can be used on cacti to create corpse thorn seeds. These are quite like corpse gourds, but they mainly work for transportation. A regular corpse thorn will send excess sap that passes through it upwards, while it can be bone mealed to instead send it downwards. Like corpse gourds, they fire sanity ray projectiles that can be received by other corpse plants. Corpse Pitcher. Using blight mold on a drip leaf creates corpse pitcher wicks, which can be planted to get a corpse pitcher. If your corpse pitcher is filled with corpse sap, you can create gelatin with any spectre drop aside from elder skin. Combine this with sugar and you will get your gelatin. Wispy gelatin, made of phantom membranes, will decrease sanity but grant haste for 2 minutes. Necroplasm is converted into thick gelatin, which grants 1 sanity bar back and inflicts regeneration for 10 seconds. Lysosome into wet gelatin negates the sanity bar but grants dolphin grace for 2 minutes. Reticulum is converted into spectre gelatin, -1 sanity bar but health boost. Vacuole creates gooey gelatin, which regenerates a sanity bar back and is extra satiating. Filled with 2 reticula, various items can be converted into their Manic version with the corpse pitcher. At first iron tools and armor to Anirum tools and armor. These have the same tier as diamond, but unbreakable. Instead, they deplete sanity, which can result in your sanity going even negative. While insane, the sword and the axe deal out 1 more damage. The whole set can be upgraded with netherite to Karenite. Or you can insert the netherite set itself into the corpse pitcher. Also, this set will be unbreakable, but will deplete your sanity bar instead, even though way lower than in comparison with Anirum. The sword and the axe also deal out another damage point while being insane. By using corpse sap and 2 reticulum, you can create the Anirem altar by transforming a Deep Slate altar. With the Deep Slate podium, Anirem podiums are created. Lunacy. While fully insane, it is a risk to use Anirem or Karenite tools, as this will turn the bar into a greenish color. The eye will become dilated. In this state, it is harder to regain sanity from the easiest ways, like sleeping or passive regeneration. Even the spectres that are hunting you down will occasionally change to their mini-boss-like variants. These versions will drop more common loot as well as Elder Skin. This item doesn't have a use yet. These mini-boss entities also only take half of smite damage than usually. The Sorrowhead has high amount of health, flies in the sky to dash at the player occasionally. Otherwise, they spit acid that splits into more acid projectiles when hitting the ground. When shot, Sorrowheads have a chance to be stunned, sinking to the ground. After a few seconds, they will begin to emanate green clouds, and if the player does not back away, they will be affected with lasting poison. These drop phantom membranes and Elder Skin. Resembling an undead crawling entity, the Necromorph is quite a scary opponent, not only immune to knockback, but also being able to spit acid and summoning spooks by howling. The already existing will receive positive potion effects. Upon death, they drop Elder Skin and Necroplasm. In the sea, they will transform into sirens. So, what are those? A siren is a rectangular creature with eyes on one side. There are tentacle-like organs hanging at the bottom of it. Its main attacks are dashing at the player, summoning mirages, or spawning shadowy tentacles from the ocean ground. On land, they transform back into necromorphs. Knocking with its head against players, its plastered smile suits the name Grin. If it's not attacking by hammering its giant head against players, it will summon revenants. If you run away too far from it, it will bury itself into the ground below, only to reappear directly at your feet. When this happens, it has a chance to spawn in a revenant at its old position. Upon death, it drops Reticulum and Elder Skin. This spider-like creature will crush a player between its hideous teeth that exist instead of a head. It can summon Eidolons. If enough Eidolons are already nearby, the Lockjaw will howl, causing every Eidolon to initiate its projectile shooting attack. This mouthed creature can hold to vomit out 5 homing sanity rays in random directions. These entities will drop Vacuole and Elder Skin when they die. Piglin Monk. By using the Deep Slate altar with 4 podiums, the player can summon the Piglin Monk with a rotten flesh, 1 gold ingot and 2 necroplasms. This ritual must be done in the Nether. This creature also spawns naturally. The Piglin Monk can be traded any spectral drops for a chance to get Sunstone. Sunstone can once again be traded in for various gold items, Crying Obsidian, but even a Ward Spore charm. When given to a piglin or hoglin, it will prevent them from zombifying in the overworld. If 2 hoglins with the Ward Spore charm effect are bred, the offspring will only have a 50% chance to receive it as well. If given a zombified piglin or zoglin the Ward Spore charm, it will cure their zombification after around 5 minutes. To unlock the 4th chapter, you need an Anirem altar with 4 podiums, 2 lysosome, 1 moonstone, and 1 sunstone. The altar needs to be filled with 3 saps. Other rituals. This includes other rituals that have positive effects. With 2 nether wards and 2 lysosome, negative effects can be prevented for 20 minutes. It consumes sanity when removing negative effects. Let your hunger be restored over the course of 20 minutes. For this, perform the ritual with 2 rotten flesh, 1 necroplasm and 1 lysosome. Sanity will deplete when filling hunger. With 2 vacuole and 2 rotten flesh, livestock can be split into 2 babies. There's a chance that it will even create 3. This ritual needs an Anirem altar. An Anirem altar with only 2 podiums can be used to modify the time of the day. With Moonstone, the night can be summoned. With Sunstone, the day. The altar needs to be at least filled with 1 sap. Combine the stone with lapis to change the weather. Moonstone with lapis for rain, sunstone with lapis for thunder. With 3 saps, 1 sun and 1 moonstone, and 2 vacuole, one can even speed up the time to get crops growing faster or copper to oxidize earlier. This mod also allows teleportation rituals. Firstly, create an anima shackle by filling a corpse pitcher with sap and 2 reticulum. Drop in chains to finish the recipe. Then bind this chain to your desired teleportation spot. Add on the Anirim podiums 2 vacuole, 1 ender pearl, and the shackles with 3 saps inside the altar to open a portal. Standing on the podiums or going directly into the portal will teleport you to your desired spot. To break it, just destroy the altar. Another very handy ritual can scan through the ground to find any nearby ores. For it, you need 2 vacuole, 1 reticulum and your desired material, e.g. a diamond or an iron ingot. The altar needs to be filled with 2 saps. Upon activation, it will scan through the ground and pull up any nearby sources of that specific material. Boss. Spawning randomly under y equals 0, the Paracutia is currently the only boss that's implemented. With its 4 legs and the green eye, it will hunt down any player that dares to try to defeat it. The boss has multiple attack abilities: scratching the player with its 4 legs, spitting acid, or being enraged. In this mode, the Paracutia summons mystical floating mouths that shoot out sanity rays, and it grows tentacles out of its eye to impale the player while doubling its speed. Upon death, it drops fragments of the music disc 7. Gather 4 of them and fill the Anirim altar with 3 saps to create the complete disc. That was today's video. If you did enjoy the video, then please consider to leave a like or maybe even to subscribe, and we'll see us in the next video. Stay safe in game. Ciao!